So in this video, which will be the last of chapter 5, the last of this week, we want to cover functions, how to use functions that are pre-built in SQL in your queries. And this can be a little bit confusing unless you see it in action, because of the way the writing of the text is. It sort of, we're going to go to 153 here, to this section. It shows just the syntax, but until you see it, it's not going to help you too much. But on the last page here, they show some of the text functions, like concatenate, length, finding portions of text, trimming, which means removing excess spaces from the beginning and the end, upper and lower. Now, keep in mind, these things can be done outside of that query with PHP itself. Replace is a very good one, so is substring, but what I'm going to show you right now is really helpful. Let's say we got first name and last name, all right? And we have, we're writing a query, we want to present this on the web. Well, I'm going to go ahead and open up my SQL window again. And what we're going to do is use an alias and a function in the same page. That's because aliases are inside this same section. So here's an alias, and the functions are right there. So my goal in this little task is to get my first name and last name presented as a full name. So I will select first name, comma, last name. Okay. And when I do this, watch what happens from students. So we're going to go ahead and just get the first name, last name. It automatically orders, actually by the insertion. And that's not helping us at all. So what we can do is call on one of our functions. So what we can do is select concat. Concat simply concatenates, which you folks learned in week 1 on your homework. So what I'm going to do is concatenate first name, comma, last name, but we'll use an alias, and we'll do as full name from students. And we can order by full name ascending. Actually, you know what? I would do last name ascending. By last name ascending. I apologize for that. So we do our same sort. But one of the things here is this is going to do something really interesting when we run it. We'll click go. And I get full name, but I have everything merged. That's not good either. So I'm going to select my query, and we're going to go ahead and write the same exact query, but in the second parameter, we're going to concatenate a string that's actually a space. Now this looks good. We've used a PHP function here, or a SQL function, and then we used an alias right here so that when I click go, I get my full name. Remember, our database was nothing but first name and last name, and I did it in order of ascending by last name. So these are all really effective ways to query your database, and just one of the functions. This is probably the one I use the most, to be honest. Concatenation is really handy when you have fields separated. The trim is good too if there are excess spaces from the beginning to the end. I would say generally you want to trim your values before the data gets into the database so that it doesn't have those spaces. But occasionally you might inherit a database where you don't want to have time to write a program that will actually, pull the data out, trim it, and then reinsert it, or maybe you're unwilling to take the risk that something might happen. But that's concat's super handy. Trim's a little bit handy too. Upper can be really handy, but a lot of these things I would probably take care of on the front end if I needed that data to be pure, because I would rather clean it before it gets in than clean it on the way out when it's presented. But that is how to use a function and an alias in an SQL query.